Give me your
Prajnanam. Prajnanam Brahman. Brahman is consciousness. But it eternally manifests in a very interesting way. There's the eternal subject, which we call Nirguna Brahman. Nis, you change it to an R because of the Sunday rules. Guna means qualities. So Brahman without qualities is the self, the ground of being of everything. But it is the nature of this consciousness to seemingly fork into subject, object. And what we perceive as objects, we call Saguna Brahman. Brahman with qualities. Conditioned Brahman, as it were, isn't really conditioned. All of this is imagination. Comes about in the same way that the dream does. Again, this idea becomes very easy to understand. Go to our own direct experience. You close your eyes and visualize a strawberry. See if you can even recreate the smell in your mind. See the red strawberry with a little green tuft on it. Now open your eyes. So your one individual mind, which we call chitta, was able to do a very amazing thing, which is fork into an individual knower, seeing your mind's eye, as it were, saw, and an object, the strawberry of your imagination. But there's no second substance. What'd you make your strawberry out of? Chitta, fabric of mind. This is no different. Now, when you dream about a strawberry, what's the difference between the strawberry of your dream and the visualization we just did?
Strawberry in the dream seems real.
Pardon me?
The strawberry in the dream feels more real.
Yes. So when we do a visualization or an imagination, you know it's just imagination. Your mind's eye is going, beep, strawberry. The process is the same in the dream state, but there is an additional element. Listen very carefully. First, we have what's called avarana shakti, veiling power, the non-apprehension of myself as the waker. What do we call that condition? Sleep. My head hits the pillow, I'm asleep. Then when the mind imagines, I think it's real. I have a very interesting story for you. And this is absolutely true. I work with a young man who is a chronic crystal meth addict. He's kind, he's smart, he's generous. Got this disease called drug addiction. The last couple times that he's relapsed, he's no kid anymore. He's like in his late 40s. He's like 47, 48, something like that. A little old to be doing this stuff. But he'll stay up for days at a time because of what the crystal meth does. So guess what his mind starts doing? He starts dreaming while he's awake. These are called hallucinations. All of a sudden, he's convinced there's a bunch of demons on motorcycles chasing him, and he's driving out to the beach in San Francisco to get away from the demons. He's convinced they're coming through the walls in his apartment and stuff like that. You've known anybody who's ever had those kinds of things on a drug trip? What's happened? The mind starts creating imaginations. And because of the ignorance of the fact of what they are, we think they are real. This is no different. It is nothing but imagination. But because of avarana shakti, the veiling power of spiritual ignorance, when the Lord spins the imagination of this world, I think it's real. Any thoughts on this? Now, it's certainly a real experience with a small r. Vedanta never says you're not experiencing the world. That's foolishness. There's no world there. There's no world there. There's no world there. It's not what it means. And people who interpret the Vedanta to say that do not understand it. The world is. The doubt is, what is it? In my ignorance, I think it's material and separate from me. I'm here inside my body, and there's a world out there, and it's joy-giving and problematic. But what's really happening is mind with a capital M, Chaitanya, total consciousness of God, is dreaming this Leela. So just like when I have a dream, be it a good dream or a bad dream. I was talking to a kid today, and he dreamt he won the lottery twice, about $500,000. So he says to me, "Oh, Jim, do you think it's a message from God that I'm supposed to buy lotto tickets?" No, dear, that's not what it means. Or a negative dream. You're driving along a windy road and the car goes off the cliff. Both experiences never touch the waker. Wake up in the morning and either one, good dreams, bad dreams. Oh, that was so vivid. But it's just a dream. This is no different. Any thoughts on this? Nirguna Brahman, the knower, the witness, the ground of being, the Atman, consciousness itself. Saguna Brahman, the world of multiplicity, the world of name and form, which isn't really multiplicitous. One homogeneous mass of consciousness, dense form of theory. All right, so we're on verse 14, is that correct? 10th chapter, verse 14. Will you help us out, please, Deepa?
Sure. Sarvametadritam manye Yanmam vadasi Keshava Nahite Bhagavan Vyaktim Vidurdevana Danava. I believe all this that you say to me as true, O Keshava. Verily, O blessed Lord, neither the Devas nor the Danavas know your manifestation or identity.
So Krishna has said, nobody knows who I really am. They get all caught up in the form. They think, oh, the God in the temple. That's God. Statue of Krishna with the flute. Or Lord Shiva sitting over there. That's not it. It is not that which you worship here. It's not the statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary. It's not Jesus, the form hanging on the cross. If you can see it, that isn't it. So all of these forms are just the way in which we as human beings, in the early stages of our spiritual unfoldment, need to relate to a God, because we cannot seem to grasp that it's my very self. Earlier, Krishna has said, in whatever way people approach me, so am I to them. And Arjuna says, it's true. Remember last week we talked about how you cannot know it, yet it is known. The scriptures say it is the very self of you. It is the ground of being. Knowing this, you are liberated. And then it also says, but you can't know it. The mind doesn't go there. The intellect doesn't go there. The senses don't go there. How is it that it is both knowable and unknowable? How do you know you are you? Do you exist? No. How do you know it? Oh, smack my leg. No, that's your body. You know your body the same way you know the glass or the lamp. It's an object of awareness. Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. Obviously, he was not a meditator. You'd find out if he quit thinking whether or not he'd disappear. When you quit thinking, something disappears. It's not you. I do not see, hear, taste, touch, or smell myself. I don't emote myself. I don't think myself. And I know I am. How do I know it? The self is its own means of knowledge. Technical terms are swayambhu, self-evident, swayamjyoti, self-effulgent, self-luminous. The lamp here is the light, which lights all the objects in the room. I don't need another light to light the lamp. Likewise, the self is that by which everything is known, without which nothing can be known. But itself does not need another illuminator. You don't have, okay, here's consciousness, it's knowing everything, and now there's another consciousness behind it knowing that. No. Self is self evident. The mind is not that which knows the self. It is the self that knows the self. Next verse.
Swayam atmanatmanam vethatvam purushottama bhuta bhavana bhutesha deva deva jagatpate. Verily, you yourself know yourself by yourself, O Purushottama.
Yes.
Also,
Yes. Yes. I'm sorry, I got all excited. Read it again, please.
verily, you yourself know yourself by yourself, O Purushottama, O source of beings, O Lord of beings, O God of gods, O ruler of the world.
Yes. So, even though this is in the mouth of Arjuna, it is true. Verily, you yourself know yourself by yourself, not Krishna out there. Remember, when we talk about Krishna, we're talking about yourself. Who sees the phone? I do. That's yourself. How do you know yourself? Verily, you yourself know yourself by yourself. Withdraw your attention from the knowable, the entire world of objects, the entire world of emotions, the entire world of thoughts. Just with a little bit of concentration, see if you can thin the mind, stop the mind. Then with the attentive faculty, deeply introverted, who are you? Jim, there's nothing there. That's right. Yeah, that nothing is not a zero. You are not shunyata, void. You are purvam. Purnam, excuse me, purnam. Full. Full of what? Full of me. There's Susli, she's so full of herself. Yes. Self is full of itself. Full of bhava, being. Don't believe me. Look. Find out. Next verse. That was 16, right?
That was 15.
50. All right.
15's up next. Vaktamarhasya sheshena divyayatma vidya yabhi virbhutibhirloka animastvam mamstvam vyapyatish Sorry, this is a very big Sandhi word. I'm going to just do the shlok again. Sorry. Vaktu marhasya sheshena divya yatma vibhutaya yabhi virbhuti bhirlokani mamstvam vyapya tishtasi. You should indeed, without reserve, tell me of your divine glories, by which you exist pervading all these worlds.
So now Arjuna is going to ask him to list all his vibhuti, his divine glories. Now, we're going to get a list in the next, I think it's from verse 17 to verse 39. Where he says, I am the this of the that, and I am the best of this, and I am the best of that. There's lots and lots of implication in these. This knowledge of the self makes us master of this world and beyond. When we go back to the very first chapter and the first part of the second chapter, what was Arjuna's sorrow? What was his problem? His problem was the disintegrated personality. So his swadharma, his calling, his vocation, his mission, his thing in life is to be a soldier, to be a general. There's nothing more glorious for a soldier than a righteous war. Problem with this one is it's kind of gray in its area. First of all, his older brother messed it all up because of his gambling addiction. And then the people who want to hold on to it are his cousins. Rightfully belongs to the Pandavas. But nobody really talks about the Kauravas. Maybe they thought the Pandavas weren't worthy of it. We don't know. They all come with justification. And he's fighting his cousins, his grandfather, his archery teacher. So Arjuna has doubt about the righteousness of the war. And he has attachment and fear. So his vasanas are leading him off into this war. Emotions are dragging him in another direction. I don't know whether I should do this. And then the intellect comes in, doubt. The end result is paralysis. And it's so severe, he walks away from his duty. I will not fight. Krishna says, there's just nothing left to do but to enlighten this fellow right here on the battlefield. What is the end result of this? The integrated personality, the liberated personality. The end of it, Arjuna says, my doubts have been resolved. I'm clear as to my duty. Charge! And off he goes. No doubt. Can I speak in general terms about our phone call? Yes?
Yes.
So Fang calls this week. She had a choice to make at work, an important one. What should she do? Doubt. She was confused as to her duty. Isn't it so cool that you are so ordinary? They wrote a book about you 3,000 years ago. And the solution's the same. Solution's the same. So basically, if we act in the world according to our inherent latent proclivities, as Joseph Campbell used to say, follow your bliss in a spirit of selfless service. Do your best, let go of the rest, renouncing our attachment to the fruits of action, and understanding that, it's the Lord who's doing the acting anyway. Then this, oh my God, I'm going to make a mistake. How am I doing? What will they think of me? Am I going to screw it up? Will they reject me? Will I not? Will I be a bag lady if I do this? All that kind of stuff is gone. The paradox is that makes us the most efficient in the world. As a musician, I studied for a short time for a couple of years with the great German held, well, he wasn't German, but he sang German music. Jess Thomas used to sing at the Metropolitan Opera. And he said there's 3 kinds of nerves that you get when you're performing. So I was plagued by performance anxiety, he says. Anyway, I won't go over that story. It's no change my mind. Whole point is, if your mind is not focused on what you're doing, if your mind, part of your mind is doubting and then caught up in paranoid self-observation, how am I doing? Am I okay? What do they think of me? You're fighting the battle of life with one hand tied behind your back. So as we go into these next verses, Krishna is going to talk about how he's the essence of all of these things, the very thing that makes them what they are. But the other implication here is, for the woman of knowledge, when she's engaged in the battle of life, this is the way in which she becomes the hands of God in and we can be used by the infinite. All right, going on.
Verse 17. Katham vidyamaham yogim astvam sada pari. Katham vidyamaham yogim astvam sada pari chintayan keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintayosi bhagavanmaya. How shall I, ever meditating, know you, O yogin? In what aspects or things, O blessed Lord, are you to be thought of by me?
Yes, so here Arjuna says, how shall I think of you? What are the glories? What are the forms? What are the manifestations in the world by which people can know you? How do I recognize God shots? So practically speaking, how do I know when I'm doing God's will? How do I know when I'm being used? When, as St. Francis in the prayer, it actually isn't St. Francis, they call it the prayer of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Lord, make me a channel of your peace. Sometimes it's translated that way. By the way, when we are doing God's will, it brings peace. When we're doing God's will, there's a sense of rightness. Doesn't mean it's always easy. Doesn't mean there's not blowback from the world. But you know you're doing what's righteous. That's right. Oh, should I stay with this person or should I break up with them? I'm not smart enough to tell you. It's something within you is smart enough. Oh, there's lack of integrity at work. Should I say something or just mind my own business? I'm not smart enough to tell you. But you'll know. Next verse.
Visteranatmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana bhuya kathaya triptarhi shrunavto nasti me mritam. Tell me again in detail, O Janardana, of your yoga power and imminent glory, for I do not feel satisfied by hearing your life-giving nectar-like speech.
So he wants more. So actually I lied. It doesn't start at the 17th verse. I think it's the 19th or the 20th. My memory has failed me. So again, Arjuna says, tell me about your vibhuti or divine glories. Going on.
Shloka 19. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha.
Here we go.
Hanta te kathayishyami divyayatma vibhutaya pradhanyata kuru shrestha nastayanto vistarasya me. Alas, so the blessed Lord said, alas, now I will declare to you my divine glories, imminent in their prominence. O best of the Kurus, there is no end to the details of my extent.
So he's going to list them in the next 20 verses. This is a partial list because there is no end to the glories of the Lord. Now, one more point here. There's a saying from St. Augustine of Hippo, where he says that we lose the giver in the gifts. We lose sight of the giver in the gifts, meaning people get all caught up in the beauties of this world, the glories of this world, the cash and prizes of this world. And we forget where they all come from. So the meta meditation in these 20 verses is do not lose sight of all the things that are listed. Ultimately, their source is the infinite. Go to the source, not just the effects. All right, going on.
Aham atma gudakecha sarvabhutashaya Sarvabhutashayasthita Ahamadishcha madhyam cha Bhutanamanta eva cha. I am the self, O Gurukesha, seated in the hearts of all beings. I am the beginning, the middle, and also the end of all beings.
So, as is frequently the case, whenever we have a list of things in Gita or in other scriptures too, our poet here, Vyasa, puts the most important first. So the first thing to know about Krishna, I am the self in all beings. Too frequently you and I will think Krishna is the self of the Mahatma, the Guru. I'm a worm. Tat Tvam. Let's see. You are. And here he says, I am the self seated in the hearts of all beings. Is that the language that he uses? Is that right, Deepa?
Yeah, seated in the hearts of all beings.
So what do we mean by the heart? That doesn't mean, okay, I'm going to concentrate there. There's the self. I think I see it. This little tiny person the size. No. Your spiritual heart, the Hridaya, is when the feelings have come to a place of complete peace. There's no more struggling. That wonderful word in Sanskrit, vancha. It's where I think we get the English word want. That's quiet. The intellect is still. That's true. Held in that suspension. That's our spiritual heart. In a mind that is still and free from struggle. In the space between your thoughts, when the intellect is still. What is the context, the background, the substrate of everything, including the individual thought of self? That is the Atma, the self. That is Krishna. Next idea. I'm the self seated in the heart of all beings. What's the next idea?
I am the beginning, the middle, and also the end of all beings.
Yes. So, all manifest beings, dogs and frogs and worms and germs, and human bodies. You think you come out of your mummy's womb? Actually, before your mother's birth, this subtle body is coming from incarnation to incarnation. Where did it all begin? In Brahman, in Krishna. And our existence is in Krishna. And when we dissolve back into the nothingness, the avyakta, the unmanifest. All of it is in consciousness, it's in Krishna. And everything in the world comes into existence, exists for a while, and goes out of existence. Just like your thoughts. They come out of what? They occur for a while and then what happened to that strawberry we were visualizing? Well, think about it. Beginning, think about it for a while. Everything in this world. Is that all the pieces of this verse? I think it is.
Yes, that's
Next verse.
Adityanamaham Vishnur Jyotisham Raviram Shuman Marichir Marutat Masmi Nakshatrana Maham Shashi. Among the 12 Adityas, I am Vishnu. Among luminaries, the radiant sun. I am Marichi among the Maruts. Among asterisms, the moon am I.
So now he's talking about the various manifested things, and he then says, I am that which is excellence in every dimension. So we know that Lord Krishna, we say, is an avatar of Lord Vishnu. So he is Lord Vishnu. Of all the luminaries, what's the most important? What's the highest of all luminaries? It's the sun. Etc. All these various things. He manifests as the best of the best in everything. Now, remember in an earlier verse, he said, good, bad, joy, sorrow, all of it comes from me. We've got to make sure that we don't say all the good stuff comes from Krishna. Bad stuff, well, we don't know about that. All of it is in consciousness. But going back to that idea of the way of being in the world, how do we manifest excellence? Manifest excellence when the mind is free from the affliction, the klesha of egoism. Next verse.
Vedanam Samavedosmi Devanamasmi Vasava Indriyanam Manaschasmi Bhutanamasmi Chetana. Among the Vedas, I am the Samveda. I am Vasava among the gods. Among the senses, I am the mind, and I am the intelligence among living beings.
Yes, so again here this idea of excellence. He articulates the Samveda because of its beauty. The mantras are very musical and poetic. What was the second one?
Sorry, I turned the page. Among the Vedas, I'm the Samveda. I am Vasava among the gods.
Of the gods, Vasudeva?
Vasava.
I don't know who that is.
Vasava is King Indra. He is the king of heaven.
Acha, okay. Another name for Indra. King of the gods. What was the next idea?
Among the senses, I am the mind.
Yes. your mind is a sense organ. Your mind is that which receives the 5 outer senses. The mind itself has the capacity to sense thought atmospheres, to sense spiritual energies. I was talking with a friend of mine in Florida. We were talking about a pundit. He says, yeah, he's a learned man, but no Shakti. That energy. What do you feel Shakti with? It's the highest of all the minds. Is that all the pieces of this one?
The last one is, I am the intelligence among living beings.
Yes. So the intelligence of those thinking beings. It is that intelligence that allows us to rediscover our self-nature in the end. Next verse.
Rudranam Shankarashchasmi Vittesho Yaksha Rakshasam Vasunam Pavakaschasmi Meru Shikarinamaham. Among the Rudras, I am Shankara. Among the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of Wealth, Kuber. Among the Vasus, I am Pavaka, Agni. And among the mountains, I am the Meru.
And again, he is putting forward notions of excellence in all of these things. So these are very classes of beings. I think that's very interesting that of the celestial beings, the demigods, the cosmic banker is what it is, wealth. And again, this idea of excellence in every endeavor or of every manifestation. Going on.
Purodhasam cha mukhyam mam Vidhi partha brihaspatim Senani namaham skanda Sarasamasmi sagara. And among the household priests, O Partha, know me to be the chief, Brihaspati. Among generals, I am Skanda. Among lakes, I am the ocean.
So here again, this idea of excellence, the biggest, the best, in all things, in all forms. Brihaspati is the progenitor of all, the line of all the priests. What's the word he's using for lake? Is it Sindhu?
He uses Sagar.
Okay. All right. But of bodies of water, it's the ocean is the greatest. Going on.
Maharshinam Priguraham Giramasmye Kamaksharam Yajnanam Japa Yagyosmi Stavaranam Himalaya. Among the great rishis, I am Bhrigu. Among words, I am the one-syllabled Om. Among sacrifices, I am the sacrifice of silent repetition. Among immovable things, the Himalayas.
This has some neat things in it. So the greatest of all the rishis, the gurus, the teachers, Bhrigu. But of all words, what is the most sacred of all words is Om. Now, what is the greatest of all spiritual practices.
Doing God's will.
Hmm?
Doing God's will.
Japa. That's what he just said. The internal silent repetition of a mantra, a sacred phrase. The exoteric way to do japas with a mala, prayer beads. And again, these mantras have a vibrational quality. You are drawn to one, and it is drawn to you. But the internal methodology of japa is you do it silently in your mind. Eventually, you want to start doing it through the day. And when your mind is not needed, rather than letting it regret the past and worry about the future, don't let it be the genie from the bottle that wants to eat you. Instead, Sri Ram. And we're given a secret of how to do japa in Mandukya Upanishad. Mandukya Upanishad teaches us how to chant Om. The word is the meaning is the word. When you chant a mantra, especially in the beginning, you also want to know that it is the embodiment of it, of me. Unless it's one of the bija mantras, which is just a sacred sound. But Om has 4 parts. A, U, M, and what's the Turiya, the 4th? Silence. And you're chanting Om, the silence stands for the sound. So whatever your mantra is, always let it have space and silence around. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Let your mind stop. If your mind is noisy, agitated, say the mantra faster. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. If your mind slows down, let the mantra slow down. Oh. Your mind starts to go into some neurotic direction and spin on something, chant your mantra. In your mind, you can chant it so loud that the stars will hear. All spiritual practices, the best. Japa, king of yogas. A little secret tucked into this verse. And what was the last one? The Mount Meru? What was it? The last example.
Among immovable things, I'm the Himalayas.
Ah, yes. Of things that don't seem to move, the Himalayas. Now, I know God is everywhere present, but the veil is thinner some places. There are these power spots where you can go. The thunder of silence is more evident. The Himalayas. Next verse.
Ashwatham sarva vrikshanam devarshinam cha narada gandharvanam chitraratha siddhanam kapilo muni. Among all the trees, I am the Ashwatha tree. Among divine rishis, Narada. Among Gandharvas, Chitraratha. Among the perfected ones, the Muni Kapila.
Okay, so again, these are the best among the best, but there's some neat little things here. So the Ashwatha tree, this is a mythological tree that shows up in the Upanishads. Actually, it shows up in Gita as well. I lied, both places. Its roots are above and its branches are below. It's the tree of life, meaning the roots are in the infinite and its branches are this manifested world. Then of all these saints, he says Narada. One things that's so cool here. What is Narada best known for?
For gossip.
Bhakti.
For gossip. Also.
But he was the great lover of the Lord, the Mahapremi. Greatest lover. What was the third thing he said?
Among Gandharvas, Chitraratha.
I don't know who that is.
There's not an explanation here either, actually. Unless I'm
And the
missing.
fourth one?
The fourth one is among the Siddhas or perfected ones, the Muni Kapila.
Yes, that's one of the great saints. All right, going on.
Okay. Uche. Okay, so these two are together. Uche Shravasamaschanam Vidhimamritotbhavam Eravatam Gajendranam Naranam cha Naradhipam Ayudhanamaham Vajram Dhenunamasmi Kamaduk Prajanaschami Kandarpa Sarpanamasmi Vasuki. Know me among horses as Uchchaishravas, born of Amrit, among lordly elephants, the Airavat, and among men, the king. Among weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Among cows, I am Kamaduk. I am Kandarpa, the cause for offspring. Among serpents, I am Vasuki.
So again, these are mythological references, a lot of them. What was the first one?
Among horses, I am Uchchaishravas.
I don't know who that is.
He was born of Amrit. That's what it's
So I guess born of nectar. It's occurs, I'm sure, in the mythology in some place. The greatest of all the horses. The
Yeah,
next one.
so it's written that in the churning of the Milky Ocean, these two creatures, Uchchaishravas and Airavat, came out. The two of the products that came up during the churning were the winged horse, mighty and powerful, called the Uchchaishravas, and the white elephant, Airavat. Both of them
Okay.
were presented to the king of gods, Indra. So the shloka says, among horses, I'm Uchchaishravas, born of Amrit. Among lordly elephants, the Airavat. And among
And
men,
of course, Vasuki was the snake that they used to churn the Milky Ocean.
yeah, and among men, the king. Among weapons, I am the thunderbolt.
Which isn't that Arjuna's bow?
So the weapon called Vajra is an item in the divine artillery, which can
Oh
never.
no, the Vajra is the thunderbolt. That's right. Yes.
So this is a weapon that cannot be annihilated to destroy demons.
Yeah.
Another thing that so among cows, I'm Kamaduk, which also.
Oh, and this is wonderful. This is the Kamadhenu, or the Kamaduk is the milk cow of desire. This mythological cow that if you milk it, the milk that comes out gives you anything you want. Now, there's lots of implication. So I want a Cadillac. How are you going to feel if you get the Cadillac? Happy. I want diamonds. What are you going to feel if you get diamonds? Happy. Oh, I want a husband. How are you going to feel if you have a husband? Happy. For a while. So the deeper understanding of the Kamadhenu is it gives you that which you get by getting all that you want. Get rid of the diamonds and the Cadillac from a husband. Go for the happiness. Go for the happiness. It's the deeper meaning of that image. What comes after the Kamaduk?
I am Kandarpa, the cause for offspring. In the explanation, it is written that Kandarpa is the Cupid, god of love of the Indian philosophy.
Okay.
So basically, I think Kamadeva, in a way.
All right, and the last one is Vasuki, the snake that churned the ocean.
Yeah.
Next verse. We can most of these we can move quickly through. It's just the best of the best. This is the essence of the Lord's glory. And we can see it in modern times. I was listening to some Fado music with Susili beforehand. Can't remember the woman's name who's singing in Portuguese. She's very famous. But, oh man, does she move your soul. She's in the zone. Maybe that's the way we would say it in modern times. When an athlete's in the zone or a musician is in the zone, and what does it do? It gives us a taste, appreciation of the Lord's glory, love, respect, appreciation of the beauty of something. Something in us that feels in the presence of something that's beyond the ordinary. Next verse. Which one are we on now?
29.
Okay, we got 10 more.
Anantaschasmi naganam Varuno yadasamaham Pitrunamariyama chasmi Yama samyam matamaham. I am Ananta among Nagas. I am Varuna among water deities. I am Aryama among the ancestors. And I am Yama among controllers.
Yes, so Yama, what is the greatest of all controllers? Death. So again, the idea is the superlative of everything. Going on to the next verse.
प्रहलादश्चास्मि दैत्यानां काल कलयतामहं मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहं वैनतेयश्च पक्षिणाम्. I am Prahalad among Daityas, time among reckoners, the lord of beasts or lion among animals, and Venateya, Garuda among birds.
So again, the Garuda is the mythological bird that flies us to the infinite. And again, this idea of being the superlative among everything. Going on, we won't have to spend time on them. If you're interested in the mythological background, you can go back and read Swamiji's commentary on it. Going on.
31. Pavana pavatamasmi Ramashastra Jashanam makaraschasmi Strotasas samasmi Janavi. Among purifiers, I am the wind. Among warriors, I am Rama. Among fish, I am the shark. Among rivers, I am the Ganges.
Same idea of the superlative among everything. What is the best of the best? All right. I think now is a good place to stop. That was 31 we just did.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll start with 32. And again, we'll zip through to 39 rather quickly. And then we'll probably be able to wrap up the chapter next week. Any thoughts on all this before we end? Now, if Krishna is the Ganges among rivers, what about the Colorado? Is there no God in the Colorado River? Of course, the Colorado is God too. So the import of this is subtle. What is it that brings forth excellence in the world? Excellence in our lives. That doesn't mean we all end up being famous. You may just end up being excellent at being the mother for your kids. Or you may be excellent in loving your husband. How? By being an instrument. It's paradoxical. The Master Jesus says, I myself do no thing. It is the Father within that doeth the work. All right, we'll end here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you, Deepa.
Thank you, Deepa. Thank you, Jim. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.